haven't seen you in a hot minute. Good Lord. How you been doing? Oh my gosh, that is too funny. I'm sitting over here like, excuse me, like I know I put the live on, but am I like really, really on right now? Good God. Oh my gosh. Okay, you know what, Grump, let's get something to change this tempo. Let's get something upbeat. Let's get something rocking. It's Thursday. I know you do. Y'all know how it is on Thursdays, how we get down. Can y'all hear me okay? Zay's going to kill me. I hope Zay don't pop his head in because I don't feel like putting no headphones on. Zay's going to be like, Tiff, you need to put your headphones on. Zay stays on me about those headphones. What's going on, everybody? I see you guys coming in. What's up, everyone? Ooh, I got stuff to talk about today. Now, you guys know already what I'm probably going to spend most of my time talking about. But I got to get your feedback. I totally got to get your feedback. I totally got to get your feedback. John, I see you. What is going on? John Smith, thank you so much. Hey, Steph. Oh, Shar, you already know it's going down. You know I want to talk about all this. Woo. I'm just trying to get some things together, y'all. Then we're going to get started. Give me 2 seconds. Marlon, good to see you. It's good to see you, Marlon. How are you doing? Marlon, I need to ask you a question. Do me a favor. Remind me on Sunday. If you see me on Sunday, or if I see you first, one of us gonna grab somebody. I need to ask you a question. Remind me, I need to ask you a question. You need to ask you a question. Because I noticed something. It's just I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you on Sunday morning. Remind me to ask you. Hey, Sister Shanita, how are you? Ooh, Shar. See, y'all ain't gonna get me started. Just running down your spine. Okay, give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. All right, you know what? How about forget even waiting? Why don't we just get this thing started? How about that? Let's just get it started. Yeah, oh, that's fine. Yeah, I need to ask you about the drive-in. That's what I want to ask you. What's going on, everybody? It's your girl, Tiff. We are starting off now with the Make Me Matter radio show. You know how we do. We come on every Thursday where we go ahead and chop it up with today's news, chop it up with today's topics. I don't even know if I want to even start off with this. Oh, anywho, tonight's going to be an incredible night. We have a special guest and someone who I love dearly, who I got a chance to hear her and like see her. I see her at my church. And when I tell you this woman is so powerful, she's so anointed, and she's sweet. You know how some people can be powerful and anointed and arrogant at the same time? She's nothing like that. She's a sweetheart. And so Mark Kimball, I just saw your inbox. I don't know if if you're on and you get to see that I'm on live, but yes, Mark, the moment I get off, I'll go ahead and give you a call. So anywho, y'all, what in the world? Okay, wait, before I even go there, thank you to everybody that's coming on right now to the Making Me Matter radio show. Where are you guys at? I got to give you guys a hand. Where are you guys at right now? Mark, I just saw your inbox. I promise you, I'm going to hit you up the moment I get off the air. Where are you guys at right now? Let me know what city. Let me know what state. Let me know how your day was. I want to know all of that. You guys know how we do every week. I always want to know how your day is, because guess what? You matter. The show is called Making Me Matter. I can't have something called Making Me Matter and not making you matter. So tell me about your day. Tell me what you did. How was your week so far? You guys ready for the weekend? Shar representing Houston. Yes, all the way out in H-Town. Shar, what's the weather like? Do you miss it up here? Or is that a no? I'm sure it's like a you don't miss New Jersey, I'm sure. How is it up there? Hey, Chris, what's going on? Thank you, all the way from St. Louis. How are you? I want to give you a big shout out just from calling from the Lou. Yes, you're on here from St. Louis. Chris, it's good to see you. Oh, you said, no, you don't like Houston. We need to talk offline. Stephanie, I said, where you at? You in bed. Carolyn had an awesome week. That is good. Good evening to you, Carolyn McKinney. Big shout out to you. Let me give you some hands. Nice to see you on here today. I hope you're doing well. Where is everybody at? So I just saw that Marlon's driving. Marlon, be safe driving. God be with you, traveling mercies. So, okay, so before I even get started, if you want to advertise with us, if you're interested in being a part of the Making Me Matter radio show, if you have products, books, if you're an author, if you have, help me understand, why do people like to call when they know I'm already on live? Like, seriously, who does that? Okay, but I won't get mad. I won't let you guys see that. So anyway, big shout out. Okay, wait, Carolyn, you're in Tallahassee? Wow, you in Tallahassee. John, you killing the turnpike right now? Killing it? Slow down, Mr. Mr. Oh So Ready. Oh my gosh. Oh, you don't miss Jersey. I know that's right, Shar. I know that's right. So listen, if you guys get a chance, if you guys have your own business, you guys have your own brand, if you have your own products, if you want to make you matter, make your business matter, go ahead and hit us up. Inbox me, let me know how we can go ahead and bring visibility to your vision and go ahead and give you a little bit more exposure. Who wouldn't want that, right? So go ahead and let us go ahead and put you out there, put your business out there, and see what we can do to go ahead and bring visibility to your vision. If you have not had a chance to order your copy of my book, I need you to go ahead and order that. Inbox me and find out how you can get your book by inboxing me. The name of the book is called The Unknown Journey to Joy, How to Transition from Mourning to Morning. Morning is MOURNING to morning, MORNING. That's a copy of my book. Feel free to inbox me so I can go ahead and make sure you have your copy. Dallas is really representing the night. Hey, Dr. Shade, I can't even wait to scream and hug you. Oh, come have a seat. She's going to sit on my side. Come on, sit over here next to me then. Y'all, my favorite is here. That's Dr. Shade. Yes. I just got so excited. Good to see you. How are you? Come and talk onto the mic, and that's your mic there. And, you know, you're supposed to put your headphones on so that you can hear, but I'm going to tell you the truth about something. I don't like putting headphones on. Oh. So I'm being disobedient. You know you need to pray for me. Just keep me in. Oh. There you go. There it goes. Just that quick. So we have Dr. Shade here. So yeah, y'all, if y'all are interested in advertising with me, go ahead, inbox me. We can work on that. If you're interested in getting a copy of my book, inbox me. We can work on that as well. Now, let me tell y'all something. You can join this part, Dr. Shade, because I'm going to need you to totally give, look at her. Is she adorable? Oh, yes, I love her. Dr. Shade.
Yes.
You see all this foolishness with Jussie Smollett?
Oh.
Y'all see how precious she is? She said, oh. Carolyn McKinney said, love Dr. Shade.
Love you.
What you think about this?
I think it's very sad because instead of helping his career, he's probably ruined it because he has shown that he's not trustworthy. He's not trustworthy,
but unfortunately, this is Black History Month. He couldn't wait till March. Like, he couldn't wait till March.
Well, that's true, too.
You know what I mean? Why would he?
One of the funniest comments I heard is that, first of all, MAGA people are not watching Empire.
Right!
They're not tuning in, so.
They're not tuning into Empire. Isn't that something?
I know.
And then, the memes have been hilarious. I mean, then I got a chance to watch it live. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. While I was at work today, Lord, every time I heard a ding on my phone, it was about Jussie, and it was ABC going live, whether it was from the courthouse, whether it's from this morning when he turned himself in, then from the courthouse, then when he bailed, he bonded out $100,000.
See, I haven't even caught up to that yet.
Yeah, he bonded out of jail, and when I tell you, I don't know if you guys saw it when he bonded out of jail, I've never seen, I don't think it was that many people swarmed around OJ. It was so many people swarmed around him. You couldn't even, it's like, well, where is he? It was like finding, where's Waldo? It was just like, where is he?
Carmen Miranda.
Like, right. And when I tell you the truck that he got in took off.
With the crowd being supportive, or were they harassing?
I think it was more paparazzi. It was more of the news outlets, more of the media and so forth, trying to catch up with him to get an answer. Everyone wants to know why. But allegedly, I don't know if you all heard this, but allegedly his reasoning for doing this is because he wanted more money from Empire. He wanted more money as an actor. Bro, you make $65,000 an episode.
What? An episode?
An episode.
I need to change my career.
Don't we all,
yes.
right?
I need to change my career.
But that's what I've heard, that he made $65,000 an episode. You make $65,000 an episode, and then you're going to create a fake letter.
And exploit the public.
Exploit the public. But am I wrong for saying this is why people come back and say they can't be trusted, or they, unfortunately, they won't look at just Jussie.
Right.
They'll look at the entire African American race.
Yeah, that's kind of the double quotient theory. It's like one black, all black, and you know the poor other people that have been murdered by terrorists, domestic terrorists. It's just them. They don't have to worry about the whole race being associated.
Right.
But with us, one and all.
It's sad.
It is.
It's like no one is ever like, what's the word I need to use? Is it no one can ever just be individually accountable?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
collective when it's negative, and it's so low key when it's an individual who has soared to the heights, or something that's really a proud moment for us. Yeah.
It's not like, how can you do this?
It's not always fair. That's why I'm so glad to be here with you.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here with me too, because we're going to be fair media. I am so happy. Hey, Tawana, I see you. Big shout out to my cousin Tawana, who just jumped on. Let me see who else, because y'all jumping on here like flies. Oh, Sean, I see you. Hey, Storm and Norman. Norman Bradley is on. Big shout out to Storm and Norm. I see Hassan's, Robin, Bella, good to see you. Tyrese, good to see you. Grump is on, and Smooth. It's good to see you guys all on here. You know what? This is Dr. Shade. You know what? We were going to start with you at 7. We could rock and roll now, because this is going to be a long night with this one. Tell everybody about you. Tell everyone who you are. Introduce yourself to the world.
Oh, my. Okay. Well, I am Dr. Clarencia Shade, and I am a licensed psychotherapist. I am a missionary in the church, Bethlehem Judah, my home church, Pastor Gilliard. Wonderful ministry.
Absolutely.
Full blossoming, active all the time. And I'm retired from the Newark Public School System, where I was director of student services.
Okay.
And so services to children was
move up closer to the mic.
Closer. Services to children was one of the emphasis of my career. I have a private practice. I have 2 adult, beautiful, wonderful children, and 4 grands.
You have 4 grands?
I have 4.
How do you keep up with being a now what is this, a
psychotherapist?
Psychotherapist.
Yeah.
And have 4 grands.
Well, they rotate.
I know that's right. It's not all at once.
No. I tried 2 of them at one point, and I was like, that's nuts. That's a setup.
But see, you had enough wisdom to say, I can't with this.
Yeah. I just left the youngest one. My daughter had to come in and release me. So
so that you could come in.
Oh, yes.
But you know what? It's nothing like, my mom wants grandbabies so badly.
Aww.
And it's nothing like being able to say, those babies are mine.
That's true.
Those babies. I know the relationship that I had with my grandmother, both of them were extremely special. And on my mother's side, it's only myself and my cousin Aisa. And on my dad's side, I don't even know how many grands it is. But the relationship that I had with them, I felt like it was just me. You know how it just is what it is. Grandmas are special. They have a whole different kind of level of special that mothers don't have.
I know. We're the cookie and ice cream squad.
That's right. The squad that stays up all night and jump on the bed and just have fun.
How'd you know? Because you did it. That's right. Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest with you, I did it until I was grown.
Oh.
Wait. I'm just going to be honest. I did it even while I was grown. My grandmothers were like my best friends. They were my girls. And see, I'm grown now, so I can say certain things. I say, Grandma, I used to hear that chocolate is the best substitute for sex, and I'm doing the right thing by God. Do I just keep eating chocolate? Oh my gosh. You know what she said to me? She said, no. You say, get thee behind me, Satan.
I know she did.
And I said, I'll keep trying. Big shout out to my grandmother, who is no longer here. Her name was Emma Rose Bolton. Yeah. I promised myself that whenever I have kids, Lord willing, that I'll definitely throw that Rose in there. And my mother's name is Rose.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So we're going to keep the Rose
I hear you.
going. We're going to keep it. Now, I know who's calling. I don't know who you are, but I know you see us on. Don't worry. We'll open up the lines. Give us like 2 seconds. You see how excited people are?
Okay, that's great.
That's awesome because it's you. The phone.
You.
No, it's you.
Okay.
Because Grum, tell the truth. Does the phone ring this quick in the show? So big shout out to you. So tonight's topic is the wear and tear, because you were on my Facebook Live watching the wear and tear of caring for the elderly. And then you started chiming in, and then the Lord put on my heart to get you to sit here to deal with self-care, dealing with rejection, dealing with abandonment, and in the midst of that, how to come back and still love yourself. Ooh. These are things that everyday people do not know normally how to do. Really? They're stuck in rejection and abandonment or past hurts. And so tonight's topic is the wear and tear of caring, this time officially making me matter, about making me a priority. You probably have seen people come in and out like I don't know what.
I have.
What is it like, or how do you encourage someone who is, whether a male or female, who's extremely broken, to realize that they can come to a place of being beautiful again?
Well, to tell you the truth, everybody has at least one strength. And I believe in a strength-based approach, which means I'm going to find that one thread where you've either had a success or you were proud of yourself or you feel like you accomplished your goal, and I'm going to build on that with you until we get to a place where you remember your successes and you discount some of the things that are called quote-unquote failures. In other words, you know, we all have times when we have missed the mark. And so, you know, a lot of times people are stuck. They're stuck in their pain. They're stuck in, you know, so many situations in their past, and they could be currently stuck, and they're trying to move forward at the same time. You ever seen a car in mud? You know how they tell you to rock it back and forth? Well, that's almost how they are. It's like they try to get out, but they don't have the right tools, and they sink back in. Or they aren't strong enough to quite get over the hurdle, and then they sink back in. And if you've done that a lot of times, a lot of years in your life, you're tired.
You're tired. And then, but you're not just physically tired, you're like emotionally and mentally tired. And something my dad said to me today, I speak to my dad all the time. My parents are like, even though I have my best friends, my parents are my best friends. And I was talking to my dad today during lunch hour, and my dad said to me, he said, Nif, you took a picture last week and it was a great picture, but you look tired.
Oh.
And I said, Daddy, that's because I am.
That's a look only a parent would know.
Only a parent would know, because how many times do you see us like hiding everything from everybody else? The world or our friends, our coworkers, even certain family members wouldn't even be able to recognize how tired someone is like a parent knows their child.
Yeah.
My parents tell me all the time, stop running. You need to stop doing. I'm like, I'm not doing that much. But in my mind, I'm not doing that much. And I'm wearing myself out, and I don't realize it.
Yeah, it does catch up with you.
How do you identify when you are running yourself like rabbit than when you're not?
Well, let me go back to one point, which is that my mom, who passed a little while ago, and my dad, they were so in tune with me that it was almost as if they saw the vision before I did, and they were always in the background coaching and loving and, you know, pointing direction, raising the standard, you know. And so you need somebody in your life that's really going to see you and see you through the eyes of love. And that's important. It's invaluable, and a lot of people don't have that. We all didn't get to be adults with a level playing field. I mean, there are some situations that would just make you bawl your heart out that people have been through, but they try to mask it and act like they're strong. And
I was getting ready to ask you, is it painful to see? You said to love them. Is it painful?
yes, but despite the fact that I have a good heart, I always approach the situation with my skill set, and that's the way I keep the boundary. But I absolutely pray for people that I see. They may not know it, but I know in and of myself, I can't recreate their heart and their soul and mend their wounds. I can assist,
Right.
but God is the healer.
God is the ultimate healer.
And that makes the difference. Sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm quiet, and they don't know I'm praying.
I understand that. I understand that completely. When do you think, I don't know if those who are watching, Lee Amber said, God bless Dr. Shade.
God bless. How are you?
And she said, so true. And I want to ask this to everybody. Hey, Sniper, I see you on here, Ron Snipes. I want to ask everybody on the live, have you ever been tired? Have you ever been tired? Have you ever felt like, you know what, I just don't have another leg to stand on? And like it's like you feel like it's almost over, like if there's a pebble that just gets on my back because I have done this, I've helped this one, I've helped that one, I've put me all the way to the back burner and have emptied myself out so much so that I have nothing left. That's that wear and tear. So has anybody on the Facebook Live, big shout out to Minister Darlene that's on, Deborah Ferguson, Audrey Cooper, good to see you. Jeff, I see you on here. Maestro from Dallas, I see you on here. Have you guys ever been so worn out? Derek Will from Dallas, I see you, buddy. Listen, have you ever been so worn out where it's like, what next do I do? Where do I draw from? Now, you and I are believers.
That's right.
So even in the midst of what seems like the worst of the worst, we don't just act like we believe and we're trained and disciplined to say we draw our strength from God.
That's right.
But what do you do when someone who doesn't have a relationship with God, not even doesn't have a relationship, doesn't believe in God, they don't know which way to go, they don't know how to get back on their feet? I have a good friend of mine who I went to high school with, who I love, who I wish was on here. I'm going to tag him. Well, I'm not going to tag him now because that'll be obvious. But I wish I wish he was on here, because he always inboxes me and says, Tiff, I need you to pray for me. I need you to pray for me. This habit, I'm trying to kick this habit. I have two guys that I went to Piscataway High School with that have said, I can't, I'm in rehab right now. One person said, I'm in rehab. Another one said, this struggle is nothing to play with. What do I do? The wear and tear. What do you say to somebody that's going through something like that?
Well, first, let me tell you what I really believe. I believe that God wants everyone to experience his love, and he's always there ready to pick us up. So sometimes when we don't know what to do, he's already drawing us to him, so that we get to the end of ourselves and we basically say, if you're up there, now is the time.
Right.
And sometimes people have to get to that moment, and even then sometimes they don't give God the credit. But I'm saying, as believers, we know where that strength and that help comes from. But people do turn to the alternatives, you know, sex with a lot of different people, going to the club, you know, drinking, drugs, all of that. And it's only temporary. But with God, it just gets deeper and deeper and richer, and you know him better and better, and you get a chance to see how awesome he really is. You know, so even when I sit with unbelievers, I always try to make sure I understand what is their concept of who's bigger than me and you. It's like, you may not call him what I call him, but we know who he is.
Right.
But I definitely try to access, you know, well, if you haven't been to church since you were 10 or 11, what do you remember? What do you remember about faith? Do you believe that if there's a God, he's on your side? You know, things that make people go, You know, and of course there are people who've been hurt in church. Church is not being a believer.
Right.
It's a different situation where you go and you intermingle, you fellowship, you know, you get strength and everything else. But a relationship is just, you can't replace it.
You can't replace
You really can't.
relationship. And speaking of relationships, you have people on here, Dr. Shade, who are married, divorced. You know, I came to Bishop's counseling that you all had at the church. I went to one session,
Yes.
Sam's house.
Yes, Sam's
you know,
house.
and somebody had said to me that they don't. This was a while ago, and they think I still struggle with the death of my husband, and my late husband, because I still talk about it. And I think no, that's not an issue for me. Just because I talk about it doesn't mean that I'm not over it. And when you're dealing with people who are on the live who are dealing with divorce, even if they're just in a relationship and never been married, they're single and just dating, dealing with breakups, dealing with the relationships, the wear and tear of that. What do you say to someone who is in a situation where people get tired of hearing?
I suggest
You know
they
where I'm
get
going?
a Christian therapist or a therapist that's, you know, certified, because your friends do get tired. They don't know what to say. Their relationship with you starts to erode because they see your name on the caller ID and they turn the other direction.
Right.
And so, you know, it's good to have a professional, a trained listener. Even pastoral care is, you know, the seminaries are training pastors now to know how to embrace psychological issues. And then when it's time, if there be a time, you turn them over to the professionals who know how to take them the next leg of the trip.
Wow.
You know, so everybody experiences loss.
Everyone. And see, and I'm going to tell you the truth. When Dwayne died, I had went on Facebook and posted and started talking about relationships. And when I did, I said, I want you guys to know, you know, if you broke up with somebody, that feels like a death. If you, oh, mine? No, mine's on mute.
It's a phone on. Some feedback comes
If,
from it.
yeah, mine's on, I'm sorry, Zay. Mine is on mute. I just knew he was going to say put them headphones on.
Oh.
Well, I hope he didn't hear that, because then he going to come out here and say,
Do I really need that? You don't have any on.
I know, because I don't. He gets on me for not putting them
Oh,
on.
I can be obedient.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's good. I can hear.
Oh, wait a minute. Dr. Shade said she's going to be obedient. Okay, so I'll be obedient, because Zay, turn your head for a second. Oh! Y'all missed it. Zay started scolding her sister because you know I don't like wearing no headphones. I told you the moment I said if Zay was here, Zay see me with no headphones on, he gonna have a fit. So, how do you? There's a difference between sharing. Hi, Shirley. Good to see you, sweet pea. There's a difference between sharing your pain and your hurts with your friends, your family. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. There's certain things I'll say, and I've said it on the live, and please tell me if I'm wrong. I've said on several occasions, stop telling your business to your family. Stop telling all your business to your friends. There's certain things that I think that they need to know. I'm not licensed to say that. But what are the do's and don'ts of sharing your pain when you're at that wear and tear standpoint?
Well, I still believe that, first of all, every family is different. You have some families that are wonderful, you know, but you have others that just don't understand. And by now, they have a track record of either understanding or not understanding. So you know who your family is. But, you know, it's a matter of being able to get to the wear and tear stage and say, I am ruining my relationships. People are tired of hearing from me.
Oh, so you just said something. You can ruin relationships
Absolutely.
by telling too much of your pain.
Absolutely.
But why would that ruin? Am I wrong for saying if you're a true friend and I'm sharing something with you, why would you cut me off?
Well, first of all, remember when I said I am counseling people, it's through a set of skills. Yes, my mind, my heart, my mind are all engaged, but I'm not using my personal, even though there's a connection, I don't use my personal space. So when I go home, yes, I do. I'm one of those people that prays for their clients, but I also know that there are times when they need a little bit more. So I make room for if there has to be an emergency session, but rarely do I have those kind of, clients anymore. It's like a lot of the people that I'm seeing now are people of faith, which does help because they have a resource they can turn to. But other people sometimes have opinions about your life, and I told you not to marry him, or I told you shouldn't go and move and take that new job. And when things don't work out, sometimes they bite their tongue around I told you so, but in their head and in their heart they're saying, but I told you so. And so they run out of empathy, they run out of energy, they just get to a point where they're like, I don't know what else to say to you or with you. And so people just start to back away and leave you out there on your own.
You know, I went through that when my husband passed. I went through the whole well, we told you, but I thought I heard from God. So I did what I felt the Lord told me to do.
And perhaps you did.
And I said, I wouldn't have done it. I would not have moved 1,500 miles away and moved with my family if I didn't believe God told me to do. I quit my job in 3 weeks and God made a way.
Wow.
Listen, I heard, when I tell you, Dr. Shade, I heard from God as clear as day. I know I did. And then I had, because I prayed, I had a dream about Dwayne. And his disposition just didn't look right. And I said, God, what's going on? And I called him 3:00 in the morning, and I said, are you okay? Because he was in Dallas and I was here.
Oh.
And I said, are you okay? He said, yeah, I'm okay. I said, you're not telling me the truth. The Holy Ghost showed me your face and you don't look good. And I'm telling you now, I'm going to work tomorrow. And because I was due for a raise. I said, I'm going to ask for that raise. If they don't give it to me, I'm leaving. Tiff, now wait. Slow down. I was like, I know what God is saying. I promise you. When I get in that zone, there's nothing.
Yes, because you know the voice of God.
And guess what happened? I went to work. And when I went to work, I said to my boss, I said, okay, well, it's that time. I was all skippity-doo and everything. And I was so excited. And she said, oh, well, we can't give you a raise because of the budget. I said, okay, well, take this as my verbal 2 weeks. You'll have a written notice in the morning. And then she looked and said, Tiffany. And I said, I know. And I said, you'll have a written notice.
She didn't want to lose you, but she couldn't afford to keep you.
But she couldn't afford to keep me. And then when she walked away, I said, what the heck did I just do? And then I heard God say to me, I heard God say, because I told God, I said, God, if you just crack the door, I'll kick it open and keep running. And you know we do that. We tell God, if you do this, God, I'm going to do what you say. I don't care what it looks like. Well, I said, what did I do? He said, you said, if I crack the door,
you would kick it open.
And I said, enough said. I came home. I said to my mother, I said, my mother and my stepdad were at the table. I said, I'm moving in 3 weeks. You guys wanted me out the house anyway, so I'm moving.
You know, when you're young, you have that mountain moving faith.
Golly.
I mean, it's just amazing the things we believe God for. And then we get older and
we think.
We think before we leap. Yeah.
We think before we leap.
We shouldn't. We should continue to trust him. But
I agree. We should continue to trust him, but we don't. We just keep thinking, and then we allow our thoughts to take us away from what God has already put in us to do and how to move.
I just did a Bible study last night about thinking and strategies for a sound mind. We have so many people whose mind is not sound, and I mean in the church.
I believe it.
And so, there's much room to really start to talk to people about the things you think, the things you believe. Do you really believe, or are you just reciting what you heard? Faith is something that you build on. It's like blocks, and you get stronger and stronger each time you go through something, and you learn more about yourself.
Right.
God already knows the outcome of a lot of things, or all things, but you learn more about yourself. And you learn that, you're a fair weather person, but if it starts raining, you're out. Or, if things don't go your way the first 30 seconds, then you're out. The negative thoughts we tell ourselves, the things that we rehearse over and over in our mind, what if it is cancer? What if it is this? And we don't even realize we're distracted. We're rehearsing negative thoughts without, I'm not saying you live in a bubble, but when those thoughts come and they bring fear and fear brings torment, then you have to rely on the word and speak back to that thing.
When do we get to a point where we recognize that the fear that we're dealing with is leading to torment? Because sometimes we stay in fear thinking it's something that we can conquer, and it's we don't realize the torment until we get to the point where we can't take it anymore.
Where we're worn down. Well, there's such a thing as mental thinking, and then there's something called faith, which is what they used to say, you got to know in your Noah, in the belly of where your reservoir is, that this is God and what he's saying to you, even though the doctors don't agree. I'm not telling you not to see the doctor, but you got to know exactly what to pray for. And I've had some of those experiences. That's not what we're talking about tonight, but I have been delivered and healed from some things that people have died with. And I just knew in my spirit, man, I heard what the doctor said, but I knew in my spirit, man, God was saying, all right, now do this, now do that. And then I did follow the regime. And then at a certain point, God said, that's it, that's enough, cut it off. Now, you have to know your Lord and Savior when you step out on faith like that. You can't be guessing. You shouldn't be maybe. You got to know.
What if so then if you don't know, do you move? Because then it's like, if you don't move, then where's the faith?
Yeah, but God opens doors and opportunities to let you know you're on the right path.
I like that. I like that. Can I just keep you with me and then say, Dr. Shade, I have a question? Don't you just want to keep her? I mean, I see why you are who you are.
Oh, thank you.
Just the clarity, the patience. It takes a lot of patience to do what you do.
It does. It takes a lot of love, a lot of training, a lot of prayer, but that's who God made me. And he made us all individual.
Yes, he
Look
did.
at you doing what you do. I think this is fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
I do.
I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. I promise you, you know what makes it fun too, Dr. Shade? Thank you. I have people that come on that I've never even met.
Wow.
And the guys will tell you in the back, we've had people that were faithful from Lagos, the Philippines, just all, I promise you, Dr. Shade, it's incredible, from all over. And it is truly an honor and a blessing. This is like the kid I never had. This is like my baby,
Yeah, and you're loving it, growing it, nurturing it.
Yeah, to God be the glory.
And I don't know how many women out there are African American descent actually are on this platform, but I just think you're phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
I do.
You please don't make me cry. I tried so hard to put makeup on to make it look even, and you're going to have me walking around looking like whatever happened to Baby Jane.
No.
Makeup all over the place. Thank you so much. And it's an honor. And, even like with what you do, it's an honor to serve. It's an honor to serve. And something that Bishop Gilliard, I wish Bishop Gilliard clicked like. Oh my goodness. My night is made. Bishop Gilliard was tuned in and he clicked like.
Oh,
something Bishop Gilliard,
Pastor.
isn't he incredible?
Yeah, he is.
I promise you, I have said to somebody that I have never in my life. I'll tell you what, I didn't make the concert Sunday.
Oh, it was amazing.
It looked like it was. I would have been sleeping in the church because there's no way I would have made it out of that place safe.
Oh, but it was so well done.
It looks like well organized and everything.
Well organized, well done, spirit filled, not entertainment, real uplifting.
Yeah.
Those songs that they sang from way back when, I can tell you where I was and what I was dealing with and how Jesus showed up for me. Oh, those songs were amazing. But I've never seen our church that full, ever. Wow. Standing room only.
I saw videos.
It's incredible.
I saw videos. What's his name? His name is E. Royce Griffin.
Yeah,
the second.
Mm-hmm.
And he had videos up, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I left my cousin's church because Pastor Cordelia Wallace, bless her heart.
Yes, bless her.
Oh God, was
Praying
preaching in Brooklyn,
and
I had one of my good friends on. Well, no, one of my good. Well, he's not a good. He's like, I call him my good friend because I know him from Facebook. Shout out to Tim Clinton. And when I was telling Tim Clinton, he's a bad to the bone organist. Bad to the bone. And I said, Tim, they having something. I think I told him, they having something in my church tonight, but I couldn't make it because I'm here. I go to Bethlehem, Judah, where Bishop Anthony Gilliard is the pastor. He said, yo, Tim, that one there, He's the greatest. I said, I know. I said, real talk. He is truly the GOAT. Bishop Gilliard is the greatest of all time. Truly nobody like him. But he's been teaching this series about loving yourself.
Yes.
How many people, let me ask a question. Who's on the live right now? I see all these people on here. Letitia, Sean. Hey, Sean. Hey, Auntie Nay. Lori, I see you. Hey, my Lori. Bobby. Look at all of y'all on here. Who's excited is us. Ramona, good to see you. So, Elder Ron. Hey, Elder Ron. So, let me ask you guys a question. Have you guys ever been in a place where you just honestly did not love yourself? Not because you couldn't love yourself, but because situations happened where you stopped loving yourself, and then you just don't know how to bring yourself back to that place of loving yourself all over again. Oh, wait, we got a call, so we're going to take this. Yes, Lee, that I Love Me More. Bishop Gilliard's been killing it. So, caller, hold on. Don't hang up. Just hold on for 2 seconds. But Bishop Gilliard was, Bishop Gilliard, and if you can turn your phone down for me, please, because there's feedback. But Bishop Gilliard's been teaching and preaching about the importance of loving yourself more. And I want you to elaborate more on that while we take this call. Caller, what's your name?
My name's Imani.
Hi, Imani. Shout out to you. I'm going to give you some claps. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
That's good. Talk to us. What did you want to say to Dr. Shade?
I want to say to Dr. Shade that I appreciate her gifts, and I am glad she has been called to do her work, and she's upholding the family legacy of healing others through her work.
That is awesome. How do you feel, Dr. Shade?
I feel blessed. That happens to be my sister.
Oh, hey, sister, you get double claps. That is awesome. Listen, let me tell you something. We love your sister.
Good. she is lovable.
She's incredible. She is incredible. I mean, just the patience and the tolerance, and it takes a lot to deal with therapy. It takes a lot to go ahead and we need to get to Florida.
Absolutely.
We need to get to Florida.
Servant of God.
She really is, and she loves God, but you could see in loving God, she loves people. There's no way that you can talk about you love God and hate people. That's just true. There's no way that you can do that. There's no way. There's no way.
No way. You may be bitter, and you can't spew that because other people will catch that like a germ. It's like all of a sudden they thought that was love, but something's wrong and they know it. So you need to love yourself.
Love yourself.
Love God. Love your neighbor as yourself. And really experience how to appreciate who God made you to be. I agree. A lot of people just don't appreciate who they are. They want to be somebody else. And there's so few role models that get publicized where you can say, oh, I want to be like her. I want to be like Michelle Obama, or I want to be like the poetess. I can't call her name right now, but you know who I'm talking about. But there's not enough role models for people to say, that's me. Yes, I like that. I do that. And so you can follow a trajectory. Most of us are stuck down on the level of mediocre, and we have got to do better for ourselves and our children coming behind us.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Mediocrity is a choice. It's not a mandate. It's something that we choose. It's not something that is ordained to be attached to us, and it's not something that's that we're not obligated to live a life of mediocrity. God has so much in store for us. He has clearly said in His Word that that we're supposed to be living a life of abundance.
Right. So that makes me want to go back to the wear and tear, because people don't know when they've given out, and they keep going forward on fumes. They don't know when to ask for help or how to ask for help, or who to ask to help them. You need a supportive community so that you are able to grow. And people who love you will help you grow. They're not always yesing you to death, but they will help you grow.
Right.
So, when people reach a point where they're wear and tear completely, they sometimes lash out. They don't realize that their performance at work is slipping. Their family, patients, they're irritable. They're complaining all the time. And even though they don't know what to do, they need to know that I need help. I need respite. I need someone to come in and help me. And sometimes you don't find good help right away. You have to go through a series of people and agencies and programs and different things, and they're all not A+1. But eventually, if you continue to pray and hold out, you will find the caregivers that can help you through your moment. Like when you said earlier about your late husband, did you ever access like hospice care or a grief group like we're running at the church now, or any of those things? Do you remember?
Honestly, what I did was I did a lot of journaling. I did a lot of journaling because the reality is if it wasn't for me journaling, I wouldn't remember a whole lot. I didn't realize how much I would have forgotten. But I, at the time, worked for Dallas Independent School District, and while I worked for the school district, I worked in a mental health clinic.
Oh.
You see how I'm not trying to be funny, but you see how God orchestrated all of this?
Yes, I do.
God had really orchestrated so much where I'm surrounded by a multitude of counselors. Shout out to God for a second.
Good counsel. Good counsel.
Woo! God is amazing. I was surrounded by a psychiatrist, a psychologist. My supervisor had her, LCSW and LPS? Something else.
LPC.
LPC. And then not only that, there were a bunch of other therapists. And at first, I'll never forget when Dwayne died, they said, do you want to get put on medication? I said, absolutely not. Now, this is just me, okay? I didn't want medication at first, and I didn't take medication when Dwayne died. I rejected it because I wanted to go through the motions myself. I didn't want this entire thing to pass and then me say, I didn't feel the pain. I didn't release because it was controlled by medication. That's my own choice. I have a right to decline any kind of meds.
Yes, you do.
Okay, and I did for that time. I said, this pain, I need to get it out of my system. I don't want the meds to mask the misery. You know what I'm saying?
That'll preach.
Oh. Dr. Shade! Oh, don't start nothing up in here, okay? But I didn't want that to happen. So the time of from the funeral service to the burial, I was angry. I went through the 5 stages of grief, and DJ Tall Guy said, my name is Dwayne. I know Shorty. He's like humongously tall, and so I call him Shorty. But when I tell you I went through the 5 stages of grief, I was angry because there was a lot that was left undone. And I was mad at Dwayne. I was mad at God. I said, how can this happen? And I'm going to share something with y'all that's very personal that I've never, I don't recall opening up sharing. I was laying in bed and my mom stayed with me. And when it came down to the funeral arrangements, my girlfriend, Dr. Jennifer Schrader, she's one of my girlfriends to this day from the school district. Dr. Schrader was, Tiffany's not accepting any calls. She would write down who it was that was calling. She said, you need to sleep. I said, I don't want to. I don't want to sleep. But when I did sleep, I slept. I didn't want the blinds open. I wanted it completely dark. My mom stayed in the bed with me and laid next to me. She would make me eat when I didn't want to eat. That depression was real.
The shock of it all. The trauma.
The shock.
The trauma.
Yeah. The questioning God. Like, I tithe. Like, God, I serve you. I tithe. I'm not perfect, but I tried to be the right daughter for you. I tried to be the right this, the right that. I thought I was doing this right. How, God, could you allow this to happen to me? Of all people, me. And then I told God, I said, I know people that you really could have taken. And I literally said, you could have taken this one because they evil. I started naming people. I promise you, Dr. Shade, it was hilarious. I really got real. I get real with God.
You have to.
But you really do have to. And I got real with God. And getting real with him allowed me to get everything out. But see, some people don't do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they compartmentalize all of that. And so they're stuck. It's like being trapped within your own body.
Oh, yeah. Because the trauma, the shock, it's there. It can't be denied. And when you are ignoring it, it shows up in other ways. People got shingles, they break out in acne, their hair starts falling out, and they're like, why? Because you didn't release the trauma. Mm-hmm. You didn't share it, like your family being there, taking those phone calls.
Ooh.
That support system is what helps you get through.
It was incredible. Dr. Jennifer Schrader was taking the phone calls. My girlfriend Tori, big shout out to my best friend Tori, one of my Dallas best friends. I call her one of my Dallas dolls. Tori was making the arrangements for me with the funeral home. The only thing I had to do was show up and pick out a casket. Everything was done. They were taking care of it and deal with the insurance policy. Y'all, when y'all get married, let me just say this real quick. Let me just say this to y'all. When you guys get married, make sure you know what's on that paper, and I will stop right there. So, amen.
Amen.
So,
Yeah.
you know, because that matters.
GoFundMe is not insurance.
GoFundMe is not insurance. You can get insurance policies for $10.
That's right. That's right.
If not less. Oh, I'm getting so amped. I keep hitting my face on this microphone. Less than $10. Get an insurance policy. Thank God he had insurance. But make sure you look at everything on that policy. Mm-hmm. I used to get up. My best friend Willie, she's in Dallas. I made some amazing friends.
That is a blessing.
Oh my God! Now that will make me cry. When I think about my Dallas friends, it brings me to a place of tears. Now my Jersey girls, they flew out.
Okay.
They did. They my tight ones, my roadies, they flew out. But when I tell you, I called one of my girlfriends, and I had said to her, I called her. I was at Dwayne's grave with a pillow and a sheet.
No.
And I called her, and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm laying here at this grave." She said, "Get up. You are not dead.
Right.
Get up and go home." And I said, how can this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? And I didn't have an answer for it.
And you may not find the answer for quite some time.
Well, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. And everyone that's watching, if you guys are still watching, you guys know I'm very candid about certain things concerning my life. Not everything, but certain things. Because I get one of the hosts here of the Making Me Matter radio show. You know, we see how the people that watch treat me, mm-hmm. which is a blessing. They treat me with such love, but I want them to see I am not perfect. I get angry, I get sad, I cry like anybody else, I hurt like anybody else. I've been heartbroken.
So you're human.
I'm human.
And that's the human experience. We all have it. You can't get through this journey without having it. Mm-mm. It's how you respond. It's how you prepare yourself if you can. It's how you get help when you need it. It's about understanding we're all connected. And so you don't have to do these things alone.
Right.
It's very hard when people feel like they have no one. It's very hard when they feel like there's no one.
What makes somebody actually feel like there's really nobody, though?
Well, sometimes it's past history because the people in their life have not been consistent and there really is nobody there. But other times it's depression. And there are all kinds of types of depression, and the ones that last the longest and are the deepest already have that impact on you, make you feel alone, like you're not a part of anything, like you're not good enough to really be with the in crowd or etc. I mean, you stop eating, you stop going out, you stop enjoying the things. So, you almost create your self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like, yeah, you really are alone now. You've cut off all your friends. You don't socialize. And people who are depressed, they just don't seem to have the energy. They don't have the desire.
How does depression get so far out of control?
Because it becomes physical and medical. It's more than a mood. So you can have a depressed mood and you can be
Depression,
okay.
that's a good word. I'm going to post that up here. Depression is more than a mood.
Oh, yes. And when it starts to take on the physical characteristics, people really are not themselves. I mean, it's not like they lose their appetite, like they just don't feel like eating. They have no appetite. The idea of eating is almost disgusting to them. It's like the body's starting to shut down and just, you know, I had postpartum depression and I didn't even know it because back then there weren't very many people talking about it. So what I'm saying is that there's different types of depression that can come on hormonally. There's so many. And so
Depression can be hormonal?
absolutely.
I thought depression only came based on certain acts. I would have never guessed that depression can be hormonal. Is that for women and men or just women?
Well, mostly women, but men too.
Wow.
Just like men can have breast cancer, they can have.
They sure could.
That's right.
That's right. You're 100% right.
Yeah. So, you know, it's serious when it becomes medical because that means your system, your physical system is off. You know, your metabolic, your iron, everything is just off. And so guess what? You can't think or process or make good decisions when all of those things are off. It's a chemical imbalance when it gets that far down the road.
When it gets that far, it becomes. So does it initially start off as a chemical imbalance, or do we create it to be more of a chemical imbalance than what it was initially?
No, I don't think people create it because it's a miserable place to be. You really have to not love yourself to want to have depression and to continue to try to get it to be worse or whatever.
But haven't you seen people that genuinely, I hate to say it like this, they like to be, you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I do.
They like to be the pity party
But
because
that's not
it
really
draws.
depression.
What is that?
Well, that's attention seeking for one. Some people do not want help. They want attention.
They
But
don't want help. They want
it's-
attention.
It's a thin line, and that's why I say you need professional help to kind of look between, you know, the gaps, because you don't want to misdiagnose someone and say, "Oh, girl, ain't nothing wrong with you."
See, and that's what we do. We're the first to say you don't need counseling, you don't need medication. I'm gonna be honest with you. Where I am now, I am all for I'm all for medication. And have I ever been on meds before because of certain things? Absolutely I have. And I have no problem saying it. Now I don't. You know, but when do we get to a place of acknowledging that, you know, when you have somebody in your ear this way saying, don't get on medication, don't do this. Then you have someone on this side saying, but you need to be medicated. You need this, and this is going to help you. You need counseling. Well, I don't want counseling because you don't need counseling. I tried to get counseling before, and counseling didn't work for me, so I don't think you do it. It's a waste of time, waste of money. But then you have so what do you do when you're in between? It's like you're at war with the people that you know and yourself.
Well, you know, one of the things that I encourage women in particular, and women of color especially, get regular checkups, because sometimes stuff shows up and you
Just
don't,
in a regular checkup?
oh yeah, if they do the blood work, they'll sometimes, oh, your thyroid is off, or oh, you know, did you know that, you know, those dizzy spells were because you're anemic, or, you know, if you see your regular doctor, some things can be flagged early and you don't have to wait until they're so bad that you really have to almost be hospitalized. You know, there are people who have to go, they can't function. They can't drive, they can't function, they can't think, they can't work. They're really, and I don't think anybody would do that to themselves if they loved themselves, even if they didn't like themselves that much. Depression is very, very painful. It's a dark hole.
It is a dark hole. And how dark does this hole, not even how dark, it's like, you know, there was a scene, and I love The Golden Child. I'm still a fan of Eddie Murphy's The Golden Child.
Show me the night.
Yes, please. And there's a part when Eddie Murphy is standing on those. Do you remember when he was standing on those things, and the guy said that you're not to drop the water, don't drop the water, and
I don't remember that.
okay, well, there's
go and watch it.
you have got to watch it. So there's a part when he drops like a quarter to see how deep this area that he's standing on is, and he didn't even hear the quarter drop. And so he said, there's no ground, because at first he was like, there's a ground, Monty, there's a ground, and then he said, there's no ground here. What do you do when someone's so deep and dark into their own depression where they feel like there's no ground?
you get them help immediately. And if anybody is listening and you're identifying with this, you need to get in touch with your hospital emergency room. It is an emergency if you're feeling that bad that there's no ground, that there's no bottom. Sometimes people will ask for a wellness check. People in your family, they may send somebody over, the police or what have you, to see if you're okay, because they know you've struggled with this off and on before. You know, some depression is cyclical. It goes away and then it comes back, then it goes away. There's so many things that, you know, ordinary people just don't know about depression. So get yourself into a medical facility. Let them check out all of your blood work. Talk to someone and let them refer you if that's what you really need. And I know it's not easy to find a therapist. I mean, to be honest with you, I get so many calls. There are times when I just can't take any more people. But I think that's good now that African American people are embracing that therapy is okay.
That therapy is okay.
And
because we were told not to. Yeah.
well, culturally, there's been real how am I saying this? People have been insensitive to what it means to be black in America, and there is a lot of stress that people can't relate to. So it's hard to find a really good therapist, and you know, you just have to keep searching. And word of mouth is one of the best ways you can find someone. But you know, you can only work so many hours in a day and take care of yourself and love yourself. Here we go with that theme again. You know,
Right.
I can't go down the tubes from the wear and tear of having 100 clients and then not save any of me for me or my family. You know, you have to know when you've reached your capacity. And that's one of the things I've been praying about. It's like, Lord, you know, we need more African American therapists who are grounded, spiritual, culturally sensitive, and, you know, they're coming.
I like what you just said. Culturally sensitive. Remind me to jump back to that.
Okay.
I want to read this statement that that a couple of people are saying. Carolyn said therapy is not a bad thing. Belinda said depression, you can make it a part of your life and then it becomes your life.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that is good. Lori said, now check this out. Lori said, my thyroid is off. I have hypothyroidism, and I've never even heard this part, and Hashimoto's. A lot of my labs are always off. It's a struggle. Because of that, and I don't want to speak this because, Laura, you know I ain't going to speak nothing over you. But is that because of that, based on her labs results and dealing with the thyroid, is she susceptible to slip into depression?
Yes. Yes. And that's why she has to keep regular medical appointments. And, you know, she needs to have someone in her life that she can go and talk to and say, you know, my labs are good this week, but I still don't feel so great. Is this going to be my life? You know, I need to cope with this. How am I going to get along? You know, if this is going to be my life. And, you know, she can get support even if she doesn't want to get into immediately long-term therapy, you know. So there's so many options. So many options.
That's good that options are available.
Let me just say this before I forget.
Yes,
Diabetics don't realize that they're susceptible to depression.
Even a diabetic?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because it's hormonal, you know. Your sugar's too high, it's too low, it's fluctuating, you're irritable, you're moody, you know, yeah.
See, this is stuff that we don't hear. We don't hear anything about it. We just think, oh, you're a diabetic, you got to just, you know, get some metformin, get a couple of shots of insulin, do that. And at the end of the day, when a person has a certain behavior, we just think that they're just being moody, but it could be part of the disease.
Absolutely. And, you know, for a very long time, there's a rise in African American young people and children committing suicide.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so back in the day. Back in the day, it seemed like when young people were depressed, if they were African American, they were more aggressive. They were more angry, like you stepped on my shoe, and you know. But the tide seems to be turning, and I'm not sure why. But I think we have to understand all the symptoms. We have to look at all of the range, because somebody who's overtly aggressive and angry all the time could be depressed.
They could very well be depressed.
As well as the person sitting in the corner acting like they don't have a friend in the world.
Oh, God.
You need a specialist.
You need and parents, if you know, because parents won't acknowledge that their kids need counseling, and they won't do it because of shame or, some parents, let's just be honest, some parents throw their kids on medication just because they don't want to deal with the responsibility of parenting.
That is true also.
But then you have parents that don't want to deal with that part just because of, we use the term crazy. And my kid is not crazy, but it'll make it seem like your kid is so-called crazy if they get counseling. There's nothing wrong with getting counseling. Deborah Ferguson, big shout out to you. She said this show is very informative. Well, thank God. Thank you. Eric Thompson, howdy. Hey, district missionary. Howdy, Sister Barker.
Howdy.
Hey, good to see you, Eric. Can you pass to Eric? Can you see my hand? My cousin Jeremy came on just now. Hey, Mooch. I didn't know that you'd be on. Jeremy's from the Bronx. That's my cousin. Good to see you on here, Mooch. Thanks for jumping on. But Teresa says my therapist is the best. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. Thank God for her. Then Belinda said depression is like any other sickness or diseases, and it has and it has been ignored by the churches and even the medical communities. We need to ask for healing and wholeness from God. It took me to look to God for my healing because it's a process of deliverance from depression. Like Dr. Shade said, it's not a pleasant place to be. So I'm going to ask 2 questions.
Okay.
One, I want you to go in about being culturally insensitive, because I do believe, and maybe I'm saying this wrong, I do believe that we as African Americans are insensitive to other African Americans concerning a specific classification based on so-called status. And so I want you to elaborate on that. But something that she just said in the comments, where she said it's been ignored by churches and even the medical communities. Is that only within the African American communities?
Well, I think it's primarily women in general. I think women, yes, especially in the African American community, but women in general, we have been discouraged from pursuing health because nobody understands our symptoms. And so I keep saying that there's something in my shoulder, but I never thought it was, heart related. You need a physician who is going to take you seriously.
Right.
And if you're blessed, like a lot of us are right now with insurance, because that used to be a barrier, you couldn't pay for all this stuff, you need to use it. And in terms of the cultural sensitivity, I think some of that comes out of slavery. I mean, it is Black History Month, and, it comes out of don't say anything about your condition, just act like you're okay because you'll get singled out. And then, don't tell anything about my business. This is the Jones family, and what we say stays here. And so you have generations of people missing the signs and the truth. It's like you just couldn't afford to be sick, because then you'd get singled out and maybe, not be sold, but you would certainly be punished, for not being able to do all the things that were required to live on the farm, et cetera, and be in slavery, et cetera. I just think that the medical community is tricky now, especially because of the diversity of the insurances. And some reward you for the more patients you see, so they're on like a conveyor belt, get them in, get them out, get them in, get them out,
right? And
they miss a lot of stuff. And then you just have people that are not in tune, that it is stressful being a single mother, because I don't have any old money to back me up. I am actually doing the work of 2 people, even though I can't be a father, but I'm providing. I'm working 2 jobs, and I am stressed out, and I'm not sleeping. Now, if you come from, Hooterville, that's not your experience.
You said Hooterville. I love you. That's hilarious, Hooterville. My aunt said, "Is that Claire from Kojic?" Wow, Nadine McLeod. Oh, Nadine, Auntie Nay. That's my auntie.
She was my childhood friend.
Get out of here, Auntie Nay. Yes, you see her? She said, "Is that Claire from Kojic?"
Yes, Nadine. How are you?
Oh, wow. Kalima, thank you for just joining on. Natasha, thank you for jumping on. Pastor Eric says, that's so very true. As an assistant principal, I see this all the time. It can be very sensitive for family to come to terms with it. The reality is, if your child needs help, help them. Kids aren't always able to collaborate their emotions. Some of it being a chemical imbalance.
Mm-hmm. And some of it's organic. Some of them don't come here, as I said, about growing up with the same level playing field. Some kids do come into the world and they're challenged. And, through no fault of your own or whatever, they need exceptional support. And so, I understand not wanting to label, especially the black male child, but if your child really needs support, they'll be so much better for it. And I think that in schools, there's a lot more attention than there used to be, because I spent a lot of time in schools, over 25 years, just doing that very same thing, providing services to kids who were not able to keep up emotionally. Their social skills were deficient. They didn't have anyone to train them about a language and how you feel. So they're doing much better. The schools are doing much better, but the schools can't do it all.
They can't do it all. Parents need to step in, and that's something that needs to happen. I really believe parents, the school is not right. My cousin David just said, I thought that was Aunt Bev at first, because you do look like my aunt.
I
do. David, she does, right? But I think a lot of times the parents get so frustrated themselves that they just want somebody else to just, you go ahead and parent my child.
But this is how it becomes generational. You didn't get the help you needed, so you don't have the skills or the insight to help the child that you have now. And when they grow up, if they don't get the right attention and the right, support, they're not going to know how either. And so sometimes you have 2 and 3 generations of families that have lived through a particular neighborhood, and they're all dysfunctional. They are all perpetuating the same kinds of issues.
You know what's crazy is that you just said that they're all dysfunctional. Have you had like an entire family of mother, father, sister, brother, the whole family just dysfunctional?
Yes. Not in my office, but in the school district, yes.
My cousin made a statement. He said parents can't step in because the government won't allow them. Is that true? Or sometimes, and I understand. Can I be honest with you about something? I lied. Y'all want to hear a funny story? Oh, I wish mommy was on for this one. I lied about something growing up, right? And the only time I would tell the truth about anything, except for my school, because my parents were strict. My dad was strict. He expected me to have all A's and yada, yada, yada. I didn't feel like doing the work. I just wanted to talk.
And look at you today.
All right, big shout out for that. That's all. And what ended up happening was I lied about, I forgot what it was. I lied about something. I was one of those stupid kids that caught the belt when you were getting whooped. And I had a big old mark on my arm. And I went to school. When I went to school, I had a long sleeve shirt. But I knew the answer, and I wanted them to see what happened. I rolled up my sleeve and said, I know the answer. The teacher escorted me down to the principal's office. Next thing you know, Dyfus was at the house that night. And I'm mentioning this because we're talking about the government. Dyfus was at the house, and we were at the dinner table, and Dyfus rang the bell, knocked on the door, and next thing you know, my dad said, I'm not going to have no child in my house lying. So if you came to pick her up, take her.
Oh.
Right. Yeah, well, that's my dad. That's my dad.
That's old school.
That's old school. You going to take her? Take her. But I'm not going to have no lying child in my house. Well, of course, I didn't leave with them. Didn't want to go. They left. And you best believe when that door locked, Daddy said, get in that room. Daddy tore me up again. I didn't say one word. Big shout out to my dad for teaching me how to be quiet. I didn't say one word. But my parents had to take over 100 hours of classes.
Wow.
I wish I could get mommy on, but she's doing they have a cell group that they do every Thursday at the house with her church.
That's wonderful.
It's really a beautiful thing. Everybody brings food, like the Book of Acts. Oh, I'm getting excited, like what they do in the Book of Acts, how everybody had everything in common. They all fellowshipping and everything. And so, but my mother would tell y'all, Daddy wasn't having it, but they had to take over 100 hours, I believe, worth of classes. What do we do now when, is it like David said, when the government steps in? When is there some type of separation between being a parent and dealing with the government?
Well, that's a really broad question, because you have children that are on the autism spectrum, and then you have children who are classified as special needs, and then you have children who are coming out of dysfunctional, angry homes with parents that are addicted. And so, it's like it's not all one big alphabet soup. You have to really understand the particulars. And there are parenting skills that are better than always whooping your child. But I only whipped my children one time. Ooh, the rest of them were all threats.
See, but they got it with the threat.
They got it.
They got it with the threat. Oh, my Nana used to, David, if you still on, Nana used to pop us. Nana used to pop our legs. Now, my grandmother, on my mother's side, never popped me. Nana, I used to do stuff, though.
You were mischievous, weren't you?
Just a little. I was always into something, just a little. But my Nana did. My dad, I can count on one hand how many times I got spanked. And I can actually maybe remember when it happened. I didn't get it often. And you know what? There was a set of educators that I had called in one day. And they said, Tiff, we've never hit our kids. They're black. One's a minister. The other one's a teacher in the school district, I believe. She said, we never hit our kids because we don't have to. We talk to them.
I think you have children that you can talk to, who can reason. And then every now and then you get one that only understands. I have a philosophy that says some people need the feather and some need the hammer. And if you get one of those that needs the hammer, you need to really consider, if they don't learn to obey you, it's going to shorten their life. And so it's a matter of loving discipline. It's not just, I'm going to beat you until you pass out. It's you should never discipline your children when you're angry. Try to get yourself in a place where you are at least okay, and so you can measure out what needs to be punished or addressed or what have you. But when you discipline out of anger, you stand more of a chance to hurt the kid, and that's not good.
That's not good when you discipline out of anger. Because now when you discipline out of anger, it's no longer discipline, it's just abuse.
That is true. A lot of,
It shifts the focus, because now what should have started off as discipline is no longer discipline. Mm-hmm. And my cousin, what did he say? Anger is the devil's tea. You know what, David? You're right.
I like that. Never heard that before.
David said that anger is the devil's tea. You're right. David said that he got whooped every day for 6 years. Boy, you ain't get whooped every day for 6 years. He said every other Thursday. I can't stand you. That's my favorite cousin. He's my favorite male cousin. Everybody in the family knows. I make no bones about it. He's my favorite. I call him he's my cousin, but I also call him my son. He's my heart. Aww. He's so much my heart that when I was in Dallas, David went to a party and got stabbed in the back. And I was in Dallas, and it was like I couldn't do anything. I broke out in hives from stress, worrying about David.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's love. You owe me some calamine. How about that? You owe me calamine lotion. So, okay, Pastor Eric said the other part is, depending on the severity, it can be classified as child neglect. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So here's my question. Tall Guy said nowadays parents go to jail for whooping. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They go to jail for whipping their kids. Natasha just said, I just spoke with my son's school today about his behavior. I'll be contacting NJ Performance Care.
Perform Care.
Oh, is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Care. Was it 5 kids? Oh, 5 kids. And this one is something different. But you know what, Tasha? At least you are able to acknowledge that there's something different about that one child. And there's nothing wrong with that. As a parent, you should be able to recognize and acknowledge that. So kudos to you, because that's a big step to make that admission.
It's a big step, and it's also loving yourself, because you need to recognize the limitations that you have. And when you need something extra, you go and seek it out for your child. Raising children is not a do-over. You can't go back and do it all over again. So do it right the first time. He may be a feisty little fella, and maybe he needs a different kind of approach.
And so now I guess the question would be, what do you need to do to seek out different ways to approach the child?
What do you do?
Yeah, is that what she needs to do? So she needs to seek out different ways, because I don't know what is that?
Perform Care is a statewide system that is supposed to be like your first level of triage. They will see any kid that is kind of out of the ordinary, so to speak. I mean, that's not the best language I can think of, but they're almost like the emergency response team from UND&J used to be the first responders. So they will get your child in, and they're funded, I think, through different mental health grants and things of that nature. So Perform Care will not hurt. It will only help. But again, you have to be a consumer that understands if something doesn't set right with your spirit, if you're not really sure that this is the right thing, continue to pursue other avenues. You have to read. You have to go in and talk. You have to check to see if there's anything like this ever been, addressed on the internet in other states and other school districts. I mean, you really have to be a good consumer. You can't just do a one-shop deal and your kid may not be getting what they absolutely need.
Big shout out to Natasha again. You know what she says, Dr. Shade? She says, I go to therapy. I'm no stranger. I know my struggles. I'm charged to make sure he's good. I like that.
I do too.
I like that. She says she's charged to make sure that her son is good. I like that. So to wrap up, because Dr. Carla Cook, who I want you to meet, oh my goodness, you're going to love her.
Okay.
Dr. Carla Cook comes on at 8 o'clock. What can you, with all of these people with different things, you have Natasha on dealing with being a mother of 5 whole kids. 5 whole kids. One where something's going on. Lori with the thyroid situation going on. And those who have made comments but may not want to mention what they have going on, so to speak. How do you encourage them to still make them a priority and love on themselves in spite of all that is going on? Let's go ahead and get this real quick. Hey, caller, thank you for being on Making Me Mad. We're going to make this quick because we're getting ready to wrap up.
Oh, no. All right. Well, thank you. I'll call later.
No, it's okay. You can talk real quick. Did you want to talk to Dr. Shade?
No, I had the long conversation about being a mother, but...
Oh, you have a conversation about being a mother?
Yeah, hey, I just have a quick question about, having your mom, walking on you.
You said how to... Say that again. I'm sorry.
It was about, moms walking in on you, playing with yourself.
Are we talking about, our child or an adult?
Oh, the call dropped.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry, caller. The call dropped. So at the end of the day...
But let me say this.
Because that does happen.
It does happen. Let me say this. The age of the child matters. Have they been exposed to something that they should not have seen? Have they been sexually assaulted or molested?
Okay, hold on. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, they could have been.
It could have been.
Hold on 1 second. This one is out of Pennsylvania. Who's on the line?
Man, you know who it is.
Hi, David!
Yeah,
David,
buddy.
make it quick because we're getting ready to wrap up. We got 2 minutes. Go
I
ahead.
just want to say hi. Love you.
I love you
You're doing
more.
your thing. Keep it up.
Thank you. I love you to
All right.
pieces. Say hi
Yeah, I
to
know.
Dr. Shade. Say hi to Dr. Shade.
Hi.
How you doing, Dr. Shade?
I'm well, thank
Bev.
you.
He called you Aunt Bev.
Oh, okay.
Because that's our aunt.
Yeah, you look just like her.
That is so
Wow, that's
funny. She
amazing.
does. She does, which is a
Beautiful
good
women.
thing. Yes, she is. Thank you, David. I love you.
Love you.
Bye. That's my son. He's big, everything. He's gonna always be my son. I call him my son. It just is what it is.
It is what it is.
That's my son.
But let me say this, the platform that you have, we need more of these type of forums. I know sometimes on the radio stations on the weekend, they have, speakers that will come on, and a lot of times we miss them because we're in church, but they have great topics, and they're talking about things just like this, how to raise African American males when you're a single mom, all kinds of things. But what you have going here is a platform that can be so useful to the community. And I think that we need more exposure to these types of conversations and discussions. It's so necessary.
I'm grateful to hear you even say that, Dr. Shade. So why don't we do something?
Yeah, let's
do something. Matter of fact, speaking of doing something, hold up, and we got 2 minutes. Talk about what's going down this Saturday.
This Saturday, our women's ministry will be hosting Authentically Beautiful because of God's design. And we're going to talk about, I got some ideas when I watched Nappily Ever After about the struggle for black women and not only their hair, but their self-esteem and so many challenges. We're going to talk about it on a practical level, and we're also going to talk about it on a spiritual level, because when you're authentic, you're 100% of what you are broken off from. So we want you to understand that being authentically beautiful, even though it's good to be cute, and it's no secret that black women in their hair have a special relationship.
Yes, Lord. It took me a minute to consider going natural because God knows.
I'm on the journey too. I've been on the journey just a little while. And I kind of like it because I like being able to be in charge of my hair.
I had to grow to love it.
Yeah.
But then that part of growing to love it means that I had to love me in the midst of loving this.
Well, if you want to hear more about this, ladies between 18 and up, 1 o'clock, Saturday the 23rd, 83 Gallopin Hill Road, and that is Bethlehem Judah Christian Fellowship Church. We'll be there, and we will be glad to see you if you stop by.
Yes, it's for women only, so I need to see your faces in the place. And guess what, guys? It's free.
Yeah, it's free.
It's free. It's an open forum. It's lunch. It's going to be a discussion. It's facilitated by yours truly.
Yay.
Hey, Dr. Carla! It's going to be by facilitated by yours truly, my fave, Dr. Shade. And so you guys come on out on Saturday, February 23rd at 1 p.m., 83 Gallopin Hill Road in Elizabeth, New Jersey. It's for women only 18 and over. I hope to see you there. Dr. Carla Cook is on next. Make sure you guys stay tuned for On Being Well radio show. Dr. Shade, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much. What a great
thank
opportunity.
You. Oh, I love you so much. When
love
I
you
say
back.
thank you, y'all give her a hand. All right, y'all. You guys know how it is. We get ready to hang this thing up. We will see you next Thursday. Same bad time, same bad channel. 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will see you next week. Make sure you go online. Follow the Making Me Matter radio show page to stay in tune with everything that we have going on. All right. God bless you and God keep you. We will see you next week only on the best radio show, which is
8 Squad Rebel Radio.
Hey, Dr. C! Hey! Dr. Carla!
How are you? Good to meet you. How was the
Some people search their whole life trying to find someone that special someone